Welcome guys, this is our new YouTube channel. It's going to be Project Junkies.
Welcome to the channel.
Yeah, share, like, subscribe, do all the bell stuff. My name's Rob.
I'm Tyler.
And we're addicted to just about anything automotive. And this is going to be a journey of our first project for the channel.
Being the first Austin Healey, I played with this last winter, got it end of last year. I think the last time it ran was mid-80s. There's some catalogs and stuff in the back. Motor, it runs great. Being a 62, this is like the first of this generation. Brakes were scary, being drums all around. They're little tiny 7 inches. So I modified and I stuck Honda Talon brakes on it. I got some pictures we can add in to show up, but that is originally a 13-inch rim. This is modified. The center's original, and everything out there I welded up on a little weld table, and this has 15-inch wheels on it now. But Honda Talon side by side, front and rear disc brakes.
Go to the inside here.
Inside, nothing special. This car is, someone must part a newer car because these are newer seats, but interior's got a overly exaggerated seatbelt mount, so you can do some autocrossing. Other than that, other than the big hole in the dash, this is a pretty good original old car.
And he did do all the CAD work and velt work on the brake caliper brackets.
Got some 3D printed parts for mock-up. Worked out really good. You can also, the air filter, forgot about that. That's all 3D printed. Spare bolts laying on it. Those aren't supposed to be there. Oh well.
And what filter does this take?
I went to AutoZone and found a filter that I like the size of. I don't know what it is. I got the part number in it.
Pretty slick. It'll clear the hood.
I don't know if it'll clear the hood. It's I've been bombing around town here without the hood. I did the Bell Fountain Hill climb here in August. I ended up frying the clutch, so this motor's got to come out and the clutch has got to be changed. And ended up breaking. These rear axles are kind of a partial full floating, and the splines are bad on the one side, so the rear wheel kind of wants to fall off. But with the parts car I got another axle, so it'll be swapped out. That'll be another part of this project. The rotary car. What started all of this was at an auction, bought this motor, and I never knew anything about rotaries, so I wanted to play with it. Bought it for cheap. Tack welded it on the weld stand, got it fired up, then figured, oh, I need a small car to put it in, so I bought the first car, figured out how much modification and fabrication it's going to take, and I wanted to play with the car before winter came around, so bought this car this spring, early summer, and then did all the modification. But it is trans tunnels widened to allow for the Mazda 5-speed transmission. Exhaust is all embedded up into the body to allow for the car to be lower. I built this car with the thought of handling, autocross, just fun race car on the street. Motor transmission's mounted, complete, good. We'll throw some pictures in on that. Rear axle, missing drive shaft right now. But have a back section, need a front yoke for the Mazda.
This thing does have aftermarket flares on the back.
Yeah, somebody threw on these fiberglass flares. The body's cut a little bit for it. It's not bad. The car does have some pretty good Bondo and rust in it. But structurally wise, it's pretty decent. We'll end up throwing a roll cage in this, or roll bar at least.
Something to just absolutely go ripping.
Yeah, it's a 100 horse motor, and originally it was 50 horse, so this is going to be a fun little car. Steal the brake stuff off that, which that thing stops on a dime. Throw on this with them tires. This thing should be fun. They did plug the holes for the windshield frame. I got a windshield frame, but I don't know, maybe not put windshield on it. Little race cars, they put a little windshield. Maybe that's what we'll go with it.
Go the old British racing look.
Do a little time lapse so you aren't bored with it. But steering rack out. Wheels off. Shocks off. I'm going to try and keep all this stuff. This is a weird front suspension geometry thing that Austin Healey did. I'm going to try and keep it all together. the shocks, lower control arm. Try not to blow up the springs and get hurt by that. I think I can even save the brake lines on this car. They look pretty good, and the rotary car needs them, so that makes it a whole lot easier.
All right, guys, we're going to get into it. Alright guys, here's what we got after taking everything that we kind of needed or wanted out of it. And here's your pile of parts. This will be the disc rotor assembly that we'll be putting in the white car. It's kind of a small little setup. Single piston, non-vented rotor. It's got like
lever shocks. These cars have lever shocks on them, and it's kind of a kingpin front steering. They use this design all the way up until they quit making these, bringing them into the States. 70. Oh, I don't want to say a year. I think 78 or 79. It's all this basic geometry.
And then here's the steering rack. Kind of uses a spare, kind of cool. It's got some grease fittings on it, so it's kind of serviceable. But yeah, that thing's pretty much giving us what we want out of it. On to
we'll keep the rear suspension together just so we can get it out of the garage here, so we can pull all their stuff in.
That thing's going to the yard. Any comments below on what we should do with it other than scrap it? Any ideas? This thing is junk though. Pretty much a Flintstone mobile.
Someone puttied. It'd be kind of interesting to pop the putty out of it because it is so thick with putty. They even puttied inside the car. I mean, without the leaves there, but there's putty on the, it's just everywhere.
And we're not talking little putty, guys. We're talking like, you know, massive amounts. But for any reason anybody wants this thing, let us know. I'm not sure what you do with it, but it is a car, so let us know. All right, guys, it's a new day. We've been kind of jamming out on the project here. Kind of forgot to do some videoing, but the white car right now actually has the engine out. As we said earlier, the clutch was cooked. We got some pretty trashed
Yeah, I was digging through the
friction
spare parts,
discs,
trying to find something good combination, and we had to order parts. Needed a clutch disc. Both those are junk. Flywheels we have, they're all different. But we came up with this great idea. This Sunday we're going to try and go autocrossing. So white car needs some maintenance.
But as of now, we got lucky and got a clutch set rushed out to us. So it is back together. So tonight, hopefully we can get this thing stabbed back in. Also, we got some rear end repair going on.
Like I said, the splines on here, I gotta get the hubs put on, but these threads for this nut was junk. So I spent here the last hour or so switching all the brake stuff over. This is the Honda Talon brakes. I've got all the brakes switched over, brake lines are mounted. The Panhard bar, this is a little modification I made up. can show that how it's mounted into the back of the car. What we're missing now is hubs and axles, and I guess gear lube. This is ready to go in.
And here's kind of a back picture of a Honda Talon brake assemblies. Fit in there pretty well. Got a little aftermarket fabrication set up here for homemade sway bar and lower spindle mount, I guess you would call that.
So these have a goofy fulcrum pin. It's basically a bolt, and there's no camber adjustment. So I made up these little brackets. Pin goes in for this kingpin, the pivot point for steering, and then you can shim this out. They also have aftermarket bushings up on top, offset bushings to help roll the top of the tires in. Because these cars way back in the day had just radial tires, and the camber was terrible on them. The top of the tires stuck way out. So with modern day tires, that's a good upgrade on these little cars. The sway bar, I built a massive sway bar. Literally, it is homemade. It started ripping brackets off the frame, so I cut these out, and I'm actually 3D printing bushings. They're printing right now, and then I'd be able to get them mounted up in and welded.
Let's take a look at the bushings that he made up. They actually held up pretty well, considering.
So I made these up. This one actually ended up breaking when I tore it apart. But I made 3D printed this spacer, thinking, oh, I might need to space the plate because I have it sandwiched between steel. This is frame side, this is the bottom side. But yeah, just PLA 3D printing worked out pretty good. Here's the sway bar. I believe this is the straight section out of a G-body Chevy, and then these are actually T-bars off from bowling alley lanes. Probably, I don't even know if I have one underneath here. It was what holds together a bowling alley lane, and I made angle iron out of it. I don't know what this steel is, but it will destroy drill bits, sawzall blades. It is hard steel. Harbor Freight flux core welder. I haven't broke it yet.
Nice. Seems to work out real well. And in the back of the car, now that the axle's out, you can kind of see what we're working with for rear suspension.
Little modifications I've done. Tubular upper control arms, just because the original bushings were junk. I made this Panhard bracket. Mounts here, comes across to the axle. This is all bolted in. I'm kind of proud of that. It looks pretty good, all rounded and stuff.
And those are an aftermarket, like Sport Leaf.
Yeah, these leaf springs, they don't make, the original factory ones were 15 leaves pack, and they don't make those. They make these 10 leaf. I don't remember how many there are, but it's a rally spec, and it lifts back the car up a lot. So I've rearranged the leaf springs to try and get back to level, so it looks good. But they are, I think they're a little stiffer. I'm not sure. The original sets were broke. There's a bunch of them broken there.
Nice. All right, guys, I think we're gonna get jamming on the rear end on this thing, get it all back together, and we'll catch back up with you when we start getting the motor jammed in. Alright guys, got the rear axle all buttoned up. The only thing we got left to do is put the hubs on, get it all back together. Kind of cool part about this car, it's actually got a tunnel, drive shaft tunnel that everything sits in, so makes it real nice trying to get everything in and out.
I have that 2x4 here. The drive shaft you have to put on the transmission before it goes in too far, and I just didn't want the drive shaft hooking anything in the bottoms. So 2x4 is for.
Yeah, but it should be same rear gear. Nothing should change, except we actually have all the threads on the end, unlike the other, which is destroyed. So, alrighty, get hubs. We'll be back with you. While we're at it, and while we got the hubs apart, we noticed on the spray cat that we had some residue of some diff fluid on the inside. So we got a set of wheel seals or axle seals. So we're just gonna go ahead and change them, assuming we don't make a mess trying to get them out. But we'll go ahead and change them out. These actually, you knock the bearing out, and these actually sit against the housing. I've only tore apart a handful. Alright guys, hubs all back together, brakes. So this is the Talon conversion here. It's got an aluminum hat that retrofits the rotor. And then there's your custom brackets that bolt to the back of the axle. And there's your Honda Talon brake caliper, all designed here in-house. And as we beat the crap out of these things, we'll keep developing them and hopefully possibly try and get a kit together for them. Let us know in the comments if you guys are interested in seeing more on the development of that, and if you guys are interested in the kits, we can give you kind of a parts list and what you're looking at. Alright guys, it's time to get this motor in the engine bay. Get her set down in there. As we were saying before, there's your tunnel. So we got to get everything lined up just perfect to get the drive shaft lined up and get it in the tail housing.
And something I did when I got this out, because there's no place to hook straps, build a nice little bracket, front and rear, so the strap mounts to it. Look at that one. Bent that up, bolted it on there.
Nice.
Hangs on here nice. Hopefully that don't hit the heater box when it goes in. We'll see.
You don't need a heater.
It's not hooked up.
It's weight savings. Take it off. Alright guys, we'll get you a time lapse of getting this thing in. radiators in. Just all hooking everything back up. Wiring, finish the bolts, cooling. We'll be back with you once we fire up. Alright guys, things running.
Oil leak.
We got a
Engine oil cooler. Pipe's leaking.
We got a little oil leak we got to take care of. We got to get the radiator in, but before that we trashed the belt. So, but she's down on the ground. A few more things to finish up, and she'll be ready for the track.
Little update, we got the first round. First group's done. We got 5 runs in this morning. Just getting ready to start the second group. This is our second run. Had a little mishap with the throttle cable. Cotter pin came off. Other than that, the little car's running pretty good. Oh, nice little Firebird. This course up here is not quite like a normal autocross course. It's almost a road course up here at Dragway 42. It's kind of awesome. Don't need brakes much with the Austin Healey. I think they're getting 72.3's fastest lap time so far. Granted, everybody else is 50 some. Get the car ready for another round. Back in the garage today after doing a little recap of the Autocross at Akron Sports Car Club, Dragway 42. Little car is up on the lift. We had a real good day. Nice day. Made 10 and a half runs, if you can call it that. We figured out front end alignment, a little bit of adjustment. Right there's the edge. A little bit of adjustment for camber would help. Sway bar brackets held up pretty good. Don't see any cracks in the weld, no flexing, no nothing there. Did notice a little bit of hit on the A-arm, some clearance where that nut's going. Maybe I should flip that bolt around so the nut's on the other side. Then we figured out front tire's got a little wobble to it. Like I said, 10 and a half runs. I ran the wheels off from it. This rim broke pretty good, scratched up the caliper a little bit. And then this rim on the other side, I notice there's a couple broke too, so this one was about to do the same thing. So I got some work to do. I think did it once, so maybe cut all this out and redo this rim, thicken those spokes up a little bit. But an oil change, she'll be ready for another day. Let's close up our first video and drop a comment below on any suggestions you can come up with. We do have quite a few projects coming up. I know Rob's working on his cut list down in his garage. I'll make some time to get down there and try and video with him down there at his shop. Rotary car do have some parts on order. They should be coming here soon. Little car, after that Autocross, got some work to do. That's coming up and get some material ordered. We'll have to rebuild those rims. And next Autocross, we are planning on November 3rd, if weather holds out, is the next at Dragway 42. Had a blast up there. Definitely looking forward to that. Try and get as many as we can in before winter comes. It is coming fast though. Weather looks like temperatures are dropping here pretty soon. But thanks for watching. Have a nice day.